We finally have our answer. As with 53-man roster cutdowns on Tuesday, we have some major updates on who will make the roster and who won't, with a new full 53-man roster projection and one surprise cut already to talk about here on Patriots Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. We appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Want to quickly remind you to hit that subscribe button. You see, it's 100% free, and over 95% of you who watch these videos are not yet subscribed. What are you waiting for? We're putting out daily Patriots news, and we want you to be in the loop here. Plus, it's a community of Patriots fans, and we want you to be a part of it. So join that community today by hitting that subscribe button. Let's talk about it. We have a new final 53-man roster projection here, as we've got, 1-2 days until the full roster comes out, or technically it has to come out for the New England Patriots. And here we have a projection in which the Pats will usher in a new era on defense, which is very much expected, but lots to talk about. Before we talk about the projection, though, there was a cut made literally just hours ago. In fact, the New England Patriots announced that guard Layden Robinson has been waived/injured. Now, he was drafted last year and has already been cut. This is a guy who used a draft pick. I believe it was a 4th-round pick, and he is gone. Like, it is very sad how poorly last year's draft class turned out, besides Drake Maye. We talk about Jalen Polk. He also is going to be out for the year due to injured reserve. So not great to see this, but he was not going to make the roster, so may as well cut him now and rather save the worry for it later. With that being said, let's get into our 53-man roster projection. We're going to go position by position, starting first with the quarterbacks. No surprises here. Obviously, Ben Woodridge was already cut on Friday, so nobody to cut. Drake Maye, Joshua Dobbs, you're both making the roster. No surprises here. Obviously, Dobbs is going to be a little bit of a veteran presence to Drake Maye being in his sophomore season. The hope is Drake Maye can come out here and perform even better than he did last year, which he'll have a better receiving core and a lot of good things kind of going in his manner. Plus, he'll have in my opinion, a better offensive coordinator. I know Josh McDaniels has been here a lot, and I trust that. I think with the team that we are constructing, it's going to be a match made in heaven in my way with Drake Maye and the receivers and the offensive coordinator of Josh McDaniels. I think it's going to work out perfectly. Now, let's continue on as we go to our running back room. Not a lot of surprises here. Rhamondre, Stevenson, TreVeyon Henderson, the absolute, I'm going to call him what will end up being the workhorse back by the end of the season out of Ohio State, and then Antonio Gibson. I really like this running back room. I really, really do. You're going to cut Terrell Jennings and JaMycal Hasty. Both those guys, in terms of what this projection is saying, is that Jennings and Hasty will go to the practice squad, and then you have IR for Brock Lampy, Lan Larson, and Deneric Prince. So, interestingly enough, I actually do like Deneric Prince, but when you have a running back room, in my opinion, as good as this one, there's not really a necessity to keep him, so he'll be on the IR position, could come back later on the season. Rhamondre, Stevenson, TreVeyon Henderson, Antonio Gibson, very, very good running back room. Wide receivers, we're going to keep 7 of them, at least based on this projection. Now, here is what the projection is. Stefon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, Matt Collins, Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm III, and Javon Baker. Now, on the practice squad, it's Jeremiah Webb and John Giles, who are both going to get cut. But one of the surprising ones, Kendrick Bourne, is not going to be making the roster on this projection, which I'm not going to say that's a big surprise in some aspect if you've been following the Patriots for this training camp, for this preseason games, but in a lot of ways, it is a surprise to people who maybe were watching the team last year or now for the first time looking back on them. So Diggs, Douglas, Boutte, Hollins, Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, and Javon Baker are all very good options, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do in this season. Now, if we continue on to the tight end area, we have Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, Jack Westover being the 3 tight ends to keep. G. Scott Jr. goes to the practice squad. I think this is probably the most likely scenario. Henry, Hooper, and Westover seem like the prime candidates since pretty much day one, so really no surprises there. We can kind of push past that one. Now, the offensive line, we've got tackle and interior. We're going to start with the tackle position. No surprise with Will Campbell and Morgan Moses. Those guys are most likely going to be your starters. Marcus Bright and Veneria Lowe are going to be your other guys. The cut are Demontre Jacobs. He'll go to practice squad, and Jack Conley also to practice squad. And then IR is Yasir Durant. In terms of the interior offensive line, Jared Wilson, Garrett Bradbury, Mike Onwu, Ben Brown, and Caden Wallace. And then for the cut, it's Alec Lindstrom, Cole Strange, and Layden Robinson and Micaiah Butler. Cole Strange being cut is somewhat of a surprising factor to me. Obviously, you know the history behind them, but it's just the way that the Patriots are kind of moving right now. The motion is different in a lot of aspects. They're in a position where they're able to cut some of these guys that they weren't really able to cut last year. They weren't in that position. They didn't have the effectiveness throughout an entire roster that they do have now. Like they said in the beginning, this is a new era of the New England Patriots, and it's definitely something to look at. We go to the defensive line. In terms of interior defensive line, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, Kyrie Stongans, Joshua Farmer, and Jeremiah Farms Jr. Kind of having a hard time reading these, so apologies. Harold Landry, Keenan White, Kayvon Chason, Braden Swinston, Anthony Jennings does make the roster. Elijah Ponder and Truman Jones are all on the defensive edge area alongside the defensive interior line, which means our cuts, you have Ritzy, he's going to be on the practice squad. You're also going to have a couple of other guys down there. No cuts in the defensive edge. I really do like the defensive edge group here with Landry and Keon White. Kayvon Chason, I think, also has the ability to be a starter along with Braden Swinson, but I am a little bit surprised that Anthony Jennings does end up making the roster, at least in this projection. Again, this is all based on, what we have seen in practice squad, what we have seen in kind of overall and through this preseason. In the linebacker room, it's Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis, and Jack Gibbons. Jelani Tavai, Kim Riley, and Marte Mapu will go to the practice squad, but Tavi and Riley will both be cut. And here's what the article kind of says on this. 3 linebackers does feel a little tight, but I haven't seen much of those outside of the top 3, so I don't know if it's worth keeping any of the depth guys behind them, which I am going to say Jahalani is going to make the roster. I really just don't think they're going to allow for just having 3 linebackers in my mind, but at the same time, who knows exactly, especially when roster spots are, a lot more thin than you think. It's definitely something to be talked about. In the cornerback room, I really don't think there's much surprises here. The 2 practice squad guys both were, I'm not going to say surprise cuts, but I'm glad we're keeping on to them. Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis III, those are going to be your most biggest starters. Marcus Jones, obviously, will be that 3rd cornerback. Alex Austin, DJ James make the roster. Kobe Minor goes to the practice squad, which I do like what we saw from Kobe Minor in practice squad. Not practice squad. He'll go to the practice squad, but in training camp and in preseason games, I think that if he does not make this roster, he's definitely going to practice squad unless he's picked up somewhere else. I really liked what I saw from him. Brandon Crossley, I like what I saw, but he's going to get practice squatted, so we'll see their Miles Battle. And then for the IR, it's Marcellus Dial Jr. Kind of what's saying here, the cornerback position is a really good strength for the Patriots, assuming everyone can stay healthy. There has been a problem so far, however, because there's not a lot of issue with that. There's other people who have earned some more reps, hence why we've seen a lot of Kobe Minor, honestly. Because of some injuries, Kobe Minor's making the roster, so that's a big thing for him. We go to the safeties now. Jabril Pepper, Jalen Hawkins, Craig Woodson, Marcus Epps, Brendan Schooler, and Del Pettis. The cut is Kyle Duggar. Now, we know as of right now, Ian Rappaport tweeted out once again, the Patriots are shopping Kyle Duggar, which means they're going to cut him. They're going to cut him now. They might practice squad him, but in that aspect, if they do decide to cut him, a team across the NFL can pick him up and put him on their active roster. It does have to be on the active roster, but they are able to do that. So it's an interesting spot. He's not going to fit anymore. He just doesn't fit. And that's kind of put out here in the article. I considered writing everyone but Kyle Duggar here, but thought that was mean. Not sure if the Patriots are going to cut or trade the former star, but at this point, it's hard to imagine him on the roster, and I have to agree. I don't see him being a part of the 2025-2026 at the end of the season Patriots. So it's unfortunate, but it's really the end of an era, especially with that contract he signed. I really do think we're heading toward a cut, and then he'll be picked off by somebody else on not going out of the practice squad. Finally, the specialists, the Miami draft pick, Andy Borges, Brian Behringer, and Julian Ashby. Really liked all this. The kicker battle was a little bit close, but I do believe that Regalis is the right pick in this manner. You obviously drafted him this year, so I think that in a lot of ways he's going to have the upper hand on the battle. At the same time, he's also made some good kicks, so that's part of the reason why he ends up making the roster. We appreciate you watching us here. That was the full 53-man roster projection. Obviously, we'll have the entire full Patriots official one on Tuesday. We'll have a video out there for you on that. And so much more coming here on the channel. So if you made it to the end of the video, we do appreciate you watching. And of course, want to make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. We'll talk to you next time here on Patriots Digest. Peace out, guys.